Hey everyone, another week for the Rangers down, and now we're starting to get a clearer picture of where it's going to be and how the team seems to be doing so far. We're almost a quarter of the way through the season for them. Hard to believe that when it just seems like it began just recently. Uh, right now the team to me just seems like they don't quite know how to turn it up a notch when they need to, if that's the right way to say it. And what I mean by that is they seem to get behind or down on themselves if they get behind, no matter how well they play. They're not doing bad per se. They're 8-6-3. It's 19 points, and they're only behind by like 3 points on most of the teams, unless it's the Bruins or the Devils, because both of them just have gone on a tear at the beginning of the season. So they're not playing bad. I think at this point though, that compared to where they were at the end of last season, they've taken a step back slightly. Shesterkin isn't putting up the numbers from last year. Halak, unfortunately, still hasn't had a win, but I think him and Georgiev really are interchangeable when it comes down to it. Halak hasn't played bad, and Shesterkin hasn't played bad. It's just a matter of that they seem to be behind now compared to where it was. The offense has been a bit more diversified in how they're getting the goals. Trocheck has been a great pickup. The depth guys, Carpenter's been okay. Kravtsov, if the guy doesn't want to get injured, on a weekly basis almost, it would be great there. And defensively, they've tightened up a little bit defensively now since from the beginning of the season. I think the biggest problem is they seem to if they get behind, they seem to not be able to come back from that, or they seem to run out of steam in the third period, which was the opposite of last year. Last year, the third period was like their bread and butter. They were one of the best third period teams. But like this year, you take a 3-1 lead, or this past week, not even just the beginning of the year so far, but this week, the game against the Islanders, you're up 3-1 going into the third, and it's just the Islanders claw their way back, and it's not even an overtime loss, it's a regulation loss 4-3. And then when it comes to just not being able to seem to get past a hot goalie against Nashville this past Saturday, I believe it's Saros in net for Nashville, played a great game, and the Rangers. It wasn't due to lack of Rangers trying. They tried their best for that whole entire game, but it was a 2-1 loss there, and it seems like if they fall behind, they can't quite seem to get it going. And this is even with them peppering shots all over the place. I think Nashville, they had a pretty decent shot amount. But then the team wants to play a Jekyll and Hyde, and then all of a sudden will go on a tear. They returned the favor to Detroit by giving them an 8-2 embarrassment in Detroit, and it just didn't stop. I think it was they did 4 goals in less than 4 minutes in the third period, wound up putting 6 up. An 8-2 final was just absurd there, and that's when the team was clicking on all cylinders. Everything just seems to be working for them. And the same thing happened with the Coyotes this past Sunday. Coyotes played a good game though. They hung with the Rangers for a bit, but the Rangers eventually found the way and took over. And it just seems like the Rangers right now can't seem to figure out where they want to be. They have the potential to be a high scoring offensive team. It's there, along with the defense being able to get the job done. It's just right now I don't know if they're trying to still meld together, because I know it's a decent amount of change of guys from last season. Not a ton. The core is still definitely intact, but it's something I think maybe they're trying to just learn with that, or maybe they're still trying to pick back up where they were at in the conference final. Last year conference finals, of course, for them was way overachieving. I was at least expecting a playoff appearance, and then the stretch to me would have been you win your first round of the playoffs there. Of course, they blew past that and just ran out of steam against the Lightning. This year, the expectations are going to be higher, and I think they have been. I mean, the beginning of the season for me was it at least has to be the conference semifinals at the very least. I can understand if they don't make it back to the conference finals. I think the team maybe still needs another year of maturity on that. But of course, if they can do better, obviously, I'm never going to say no. But I followed this team enough since I've been a kid to tell when the team has it or when they don't, at least in my opinion. And I think this year is still a year where it's still probably going to be a little bit more growing into what they need to be. They should still make the playoffs, so like I said, that shouldn't be an issue. But at the quarter point of the season, I think they just need to figure out a couple things and tweak it. By no means are they in any danger of falling behind whatsoever. They do need to pay attention, though, because while they're only 3 points behind most of the teams that they're trying to chase, there's 4 or 5 teams behind them that are only 2 or 3 points behind them for a wild card spot if they potentially fall into that area. So it's just something they have to keep track of and stay observant of. This week is a whole entire West Coast trip starting on Thursday with Seattle and then going south from there to San Jose on Saturday, and then a few days doing a back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday against the Kings and Ducks, respectively. That's not exactly an easy trip there. Seattle's playing significantly better than they did last year. Seattle thinks in a playoff spot right now. I mean, good for them, of course, being a team now just in their second season. San Jose, I know, is still struggling. The Rangers, I know, lost to San Jose when they came to the Garden, though, last month. I think the Rangers, though, can definitely pick up a W there. And then heading down to the Los Angeles area. Kings, of course, playing pretty good. Made the playoffs last year. I think the Rangers can take that one. And the Ducks, I'm sure, are still not exactly doing that well. But that 4-game road trip, though, we'll see what happens. It'd be great if they can go 3-1. Something tells me it's going to be a 2-2 trip, though, which is just a hunch. But then after that, they're back here at the Garden for a couple games. Other than that, though, the team I think it will be trending in the right way in a few more weeks. Just hopefully they can figure out what's going on, and that's really about it. Thanks everyone for watching, and I look forward to talking to you next week.